you guys. I am here with Harrison Taylor. He is the, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Harrison, Director of Leasing and Development for the River Street Marketplace, and I work for Dan Almquist with Almquist Development and Investment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I live and work in San Juan Capistrano, and
Awesome.
I know a lot of us have been like watching from the outskirts. Can you just tell us a little bit about what River Street Marketplace is?
Definitely, yeah. Thank you so much for coming today. So River Street Marketplace is a 60,000 square foot experiential retail marketplace. We have top restaurants, top retail. We have a brewery. We have a large food hall called Rodeo River Street with 10 different restaurants in it. So we're really, wanted to create a place where families could come and gather. Our owner, Dan Almquist, has been working on this for nearly 10 years. So it's been a major passion project for him and his family. And I've had the privilege to work on it for the last 2 years, helping with the final leasing of the project. And yeah, we're so excited to finally be open. So, yeah.
It's really exciting to see it in action and see some of these buildings come to life, kids running around in the background. There's like lines out the door at some of the shops.
Definitely.
So how many buildings are here?
So there's 7 buildings in total, and kind of the story that our architect and Dan created was that the farmer and his wife would have owned the farmstead building, which is to my right here. Mm-hmm. That's where Lava Care is located. And then over the years, the farmer and his wife and their family would have built all of these buildings on the property to support their working ranch. And so the theme was, the farmstead building and then the greenhouse building behind us. Then they built the hayloft building, which is the bar and brewery. So the hayloft was to store the hay. And then they built the red barn to raise their livestock. Okay. Now they're growing their produce and they're raising their livestock. Now they need somewhere to sell it. Yeah. So they built the marketplace building to my left here. And then they said, well, we want to get into manufacturing and apparel and goods, so they built the workshop building to my right, and then the final building is the mercantile building, and that's the 2-story building directly behind us, and that's where all of our retail is primarily located. We really wanted people to come here and just feel like they could unplug and just be with their families and get a different experience. So that was our hope. So.
What does it feel like now that you're here, seeing it from concept to completion, seeing the vision of the various buildings, and then now you're seeing them open their doors and seeing what is it like seeing it come to life?
Oh, it's been amazing. I still have glimpses of Dan and I and the team walking this in the spring, and it's raining and giant lakes behind us where these retention basins are, and it's still I think I'm still in shock that we're finally open. It's just so exciting, and we're only 50% open roughly right now, so we are 100% leased, but our final tenants will be opening by December 1st, hopefully.
Okay.
Or the first week of December.
So I saw that there are various businesses having grand openings, at their launches. Yeah. I think Seeger today had a grand opening, but is River Street Marketplace having a grand opening in January? Yeah, so
Dan wanted to get through the holidays and get everybody open, get all their staff dialed, and then have one grand opening together as a whole project. And that would be the weekend of January 25th is our goal. So yeah, awesome. So we'll definitely be advertising that. We'll have live music out on our stage here, and all the businesses are going to be participating with fun giveaways and activations. So it'll be awesome.
Well, I know you and your family. Can you tell us where you guys live and how long you've lived in San Juan Capistrano, and what you think is unique about the city?
Yes, I had the opportunity to grow up in Los Rios in the historic district. So in 1990, my folks bought this little farmhouse that was built in 1887. Wow, that's and awesome. It was in pretty bad shape. There was no fences, there was no gardens. People would cut through their property to get from one street to the other. Yeah. So it was definitely not what it is today, but it's been such an honor to see the progression and the popularity of the downtown with all the work that the city's done on updating Verdugo Street, and then the Capistrano Plaza, that's where Mayfield is, and Breezy and Five Vines, that's been amazing. And then the Mission, redid the Mission Gatehouse. I mean, all the different property owners in the downtown have really invested heavily, and including the city, and now with River Street coming online and the Inn at the Mission coming online in 2020, I feel like it's just San Juan's on a really good trajectory, and it's such an honor to get to be kind of on the front lines, living on Los Rios with my family and getting to see it and live it every day. It's awesome. So.
Yeah. And Harrison's kids are running around in the background, so it really feels full circle. And just how they designed this place to be, which is to have the kids enjoy it and the family enjoy it, that's exactly what's happening right now. I live here as well, but I didn't grow up. I do love just following just from the outskirts, and I really appreciate Howard Hart setting up our meeting today.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
You can really see all of the passion and vision for San Juan Capistrano and see it come to life, like you were saying, Vertigo Street. I think Howard mentioned that Dan kind of helped make that a destination as well?
Yeah, so at the same time that the city was working on the upgrades of Verdugo, Dan was working on the upgrades to Capistrano Plaza. And that building was really interesting. You would walk along the Capistrano Plaza building, there was no windows. It used to be an old wax museum back in the day, and all of the shops were accessed through an interior corridor. So it wasn't very engaging for the public to walk down that street. So he was designing it kind of at the same time that the city was doing their upgrades. And they both finished at right around, I think, summer of 2020, if I recall correctly, and it was just so cool to see that come to life and activate that whole street, and with good lighting, widen the sidewalks, brought in street planters and benches, and there was a really cool project. So
it looks really great. And then I know the parking lot right here between River Street Marketplace and the park has been paved.
Yes, that was a big deal.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're really appreciative of the city to do that, not just as someone that's working here, but also as a resident. That lot was always, when it would rain, it would be a little rough, and now it's beautiful. Yeah. It's colored concrete, and it's first class. So.
Just a couple more questions. Yeah. So what used to be here? I remember a nursery. Was it?
Exactly. Yeah, this was the Ito family nursery, the Ito nursery. Yeah. So Doug and Sherry Ito sold Dan Almquist the property, and the Itos, I got to serve on the Historical Society board with Sherry Ito. So basically, when Dan started his journey into this project, he went around to a lot of the local, stakeholders and community members and leaders, and was presenting his idea. And so Sherry had introduced us probably about 8 years ago now, and it was really cool to see his vision then. And from day one, I was like, this is so cool. Like, this is what San Juan needs. Yeah. This would just differentiate us. And so it's really exciting to see it finally open and come to fruition. So, yeah,
I agree. And then I just want to hear your side with the tenant selection, and you were speaking about each of the buildings and what they represent. Yeah. So how did you secure the tenants, and did you have a vision for each one?
Yeah, so it was a collaborative effort with the whole team, very hands-on, kind of the lens at two things. One of the things is the lens that we try to approach all of our projects is 1/3 local, 1/3 regional, and 1/3 national. That's the formula that Dan is guiding principles with our projects. So you'll see some bigger,
hey, buddy.
This is Ford.
Hi, Ford.
So you'll see when you walk the property here, you'll see larger tenants like Free People. So that's part of the anthropology group. And then you'll see smaller tenants like Fermentation Farm, where this is her second location.
Okay, awesome.
And so, the larger national tenants help give us credibility, give the project credibility. And then the local give us, more of that soul and heart. You'll get to meet the owners, and you just feel invested in their business with them almost. And then our regional are great because there's, 10 or 12 of them in Southern California, and this is like Mendocino Farms, for example, would be a good example of that. My kids love Fermentation Farm. That's one of their favorites.
Awesome. So
that was a fun story. So my wife Anna told me, if there's one tenant you can get, can you please call Fermentation Farm? And so after about a month of trying to get a hold of the owner, I hadn't met her before. She had finally called me back, and it was like a rainy spring day, and we walked the whole site, trudging through the mud, and she fell in love with the building behind you in the greenhouse. And within, I would say, 3 or 4 meetings, we had a signed lease, and she's become such a good friend, Dr. Yaz, and she just does amazing food and to-go, and just really health-focused, centered food. So
that's an awesome story.
Yeah.
What are some of the flagship places that are here?
So I would say, flagship wise, Free People would definitely, not in terms of square footage, but just in terms of, kind of notoriety. But in terms of square footage, our main anchors would be La Vaquera, The Red Barn, which is Rodeo River Street, 10 different restaurants in there. That's 8,000 square feet. And then we have the Market by the Meat Cellar. They're at 4,500 square feet. And then our next large tenant would be Hobie Surf Shop at 5,000 feet. So
awesome.
Yeah. So.
Well, we loved hearing about River Street Marketplace.
Thank
we are
you.
looking for the forward to the actual grand opening.
Thank you, yeah.
It's awesome to see it like in full effect.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate your time.
Thank you so
with
much.
your kids and your
Yeah.
family and all the awesome stories.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's nice to meet
Yeah,
you. Thank
good
you.
to meet
Yeah,
you.
you
Thank you
too.
for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome.